Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Black Belt Beauty Radio. This episode, I want it to be an energetic sound bath for you that is going to help to root you into your most confident and capable self. So I actually have an Instagram post that I want to read to you. So it's a bit of storytelling, and then I will tease out, some of the writing in here. And really, I want this episode to be that episode that, when you need some more motivation, inspiration, you need to elevate your frequency, your energetic frequency. I want this to be what you take in to achieve that. So in this Instagram post, I put up this quote that says, "You have to become so confident in who you are that you bet on yourself, even when the odds are against you." And I've done that my whole life. So I know this very well. So now I'll drop you into the caption. One day in meditation, in conversation with my Muse, if you know, you know, I asked her to give me some insight on what is coming next for me on my uncharted path of life. She said, "If you know who you are, it is unnecessary to know what's coming next, because within this knowing, you understand with unbreakable confidence, whatever it will be, you will rise and you will thrive from it." Mic drop, heart on fire, mind expanded. She's always on point. She really is, you guys. So for those of you who don't know, and you're new to this, my Muse is my highest self. She's my future self. She's also my ride or die. She's my soulmate. She's essentially me expanded, right? And over the years, I have developed a real relationship with this version of myself, right? And this is really, I have a digital course, Future Self digital course, that is centered in how can you get a clear connection with this highest frequency of you, because everyone has this self within us, right? So how do you create this clear connection with this highest frequency of you and cultivate an unbreakable bond with this highest frequency of you? Because my Muse, she's my North Star, right? Again, she's me expanded. So, on the one hand, you have these goals, right? Like career and, financial and health and all the things like that we all have, specific pillars that we all tend to have goals in, right? And I certainly do. My main goal is becoming her every single day, right? So, because she's actually what creates these visions, these goals into form. So whatever the vision is for business, that vision doesn't make me who I am. I make that vision what it is and what it will be, right? So it's very important to understand that. And that is, the premise behind my digital course, but I'll get to that later. I just wanted to insert that for those of you who are not yet familiar with who my Muse is, right? Needing to know what comes next is to say, I don't really trust in my ability to thrive through any and all scenarios in life. And it simply is not the truth. Without a shadow of doubt, in me, I trust. I know who I am, and I know who I'm becoming. Being an authentic path creator requires the deepest levels of self-trust to move through what I call the scenic route. This is the unpaved path of life. It allows you to create a life of authentic fulfillment. So this is where, you're opting out of whatever looks like could be the great, path to success, or maybe you've been informed by external influences that like, this is the way to go. But your heart is saying something different. I always want you listening to your heart. Your heart is where your authentic self is. Your heart is where your intuition is, like how you can access your intuition. And there's a larger tendency for people to turn down the volume on their authentic self and turn up the volume on the external and then create their life from the external. It requires tremendous self-trust to dive in and listen to your authentic self, because more often than not, you're not going to have the proof, in quotations, for those of you not watching, and the certainty that most all of us are craving, to move on the path that your authentic self is driving you to move on. But you have to realize, and this is something I speak about very often and will continue to do so, that you are the proof, right? You have to prove to yourself even more that you are capable, this is how you develop self-trust. This is how you prove to yourself that you are the proof. You're all you need to know, right? And it doesn't mean that, in every situation as you move forward, you're going to feel confident. No, confidence is a skill. We build it by flexing the muscle, by moving towards the challenge, right? So it's just an important insert that, I had to put here right now, because I know that, it's not easy to take the scenic route, as I call it. So again, let me just say it like this. It's a fun kind of illustration. The scenic route is the jungle, right? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And look at all the colors, but what's behind that plant? And you don't know, but it's your curiosity is evoked. It's so interesting because it's an adventure, but there's no certainty, right? Cut to the freeway. The freeway is this, here's the signs, go this way, go that way. Really easy, right? Just follow the signs. Even if you have to be stuck in gridlock traffic, follow the signs, right? It's the easier path to take because it's all laid out in front of you. But it's not, and we know this, there's just so much proof at this point to say that, people who take the path that is not true to themselves. So one of the greatest regrets that individuals on their dying bed stated was in their life when they had the moment to look back and go what's the biggest regret? It was that they did not choose to live their authentic life, to live the life that they truly wanted to live, right? So that would be them taking the scenic route. They took the freeway, okay? So I understand that it's hard, but that's the best part, because in that challenge, you get to really develop yourself and you get to experience a much more gratifying and fulfilling and adventurous and thrilling life, Back to the caption. Self-confidence is the precursor to self-trust, right? So I just said self-confidence is a skill, right? And you to develop the skill, you have to put yourself in the arena. You have to move towards the fight, move towards the challenge. You can't just think about being confident. You have to do the work to become confident. And that's the best part, in my opinion, because the playback on that, even if you have to take hits and there's hardship and you're put on your knees and oh my gosh, you don't know how you're going to get to the other side, but then you do. I mean, that's the epic playback, and you can never not remember that, right? It's a stripe on your confidence belt. And what it does, it also supports your self-trust, because you're hey, when you find yourself in another situation where you have to face uncertainty, stretch yourself in a way you've never, stretched yourself before. So, you're kind of, it's unnerving, but you can look back, you can go down to that stripe on your belt and go, but hey, wait, I've done that before. So even though this is a different situation, if I did that then why can't I do this now, right? So self-trust comes with more strength and more fortification as a result of you flexing your self-confidence muscles and making your self-confidence stronger. They really go hand in hand, but I really feel that the precursor to self-trust is self-confidence, because it's giving you the proof that you're capable. So the end of this caption has some really powerful questions that I think will be so great to leave in this episode for you. And if you want to even journal these out, you know how I feel about journaling, grab your journal and start journaling out the answers to these questions. So number one is, do you know who you are? It might seem like an easy question to answer, but honestly, a lot of people actually don't know who they are. Again, because, there's so much programming that happens, especially from, birth to age 7, and it starts to really interfere with your authentic self, and your authentic self is really, it's what are your core values? What are your core beliefs? What are the core boundaries that are important for you to uphold and to put into place to keep yourself, thriving in life? What are your core principles or tenets? What are your leading attributes? I mean, this is really valuable information. What are your core desires? Like, what do you truly want to experience in your life? You know, all of this information, and then of course there's more, is what lives in the authentic self, right? So it's not just, oh, my name is Roxy and I live here and these are my friends and this is what I like and this is my goal. That's not me knowing my authentic self. Me knowing my authentic self lives in those other categories that I just listed off to you, and then even then some. And that stuff actually, it lives in my Future Self digital course. There's a link in the show notes for that if you want to take a look at that. But that question is really important. And here's the thing, contemplate on it, Think about this question as a constant. Like, who am I? And it's not to shake you up like you don't have any grip in terms of like you're not rooted in any kind of concept of who you are. But it's a really powerful question, your authentic self. Who are you? Next question. Do you know who you're becoming? This is so important. This again this is the, big premise behind my Future Self digital course. You have to know who you're becoming. What's your evolution? I'm not saying you have to have a play-by-play. I'm saying, do you have a concept? Can you see the expanded version of yourself? Who is that person? How do they move through life? And you think about, when I say move through life, how do they move through challenges? How do they, have hard conversations? What are the habits that they have? What are, the things that they do for fun? Like the list goes on and on. But the more that you can get clear on who you're becoming, by the way, this is you tuning into your muse, your future self, the highest frequency of you. This is huge because you got to realize, the reason why I named my guided journaling book, You Are the Path, is that this whole thing of life is who you are becoming. It's who you are, the journey, the adventure of you, right? Because life is a result of what you believe about yourself. It's your self-identity, your self-concept, right? So knowing who you are now is absolutely so important. But of equal importance is knowing who you're becoming, because that's going to anchor you into, you think about like, oh, her habits, right? Just making this up here to kind of really help you get this concept. Well, then in your day-to-day life, you can measure, what are your habits like in comparison to, this idea, this concept of yourself that you are becoming? Do they line up? It's okay if they don't right away, but I'm just saying, like, this will anchor you to move into embodiment of, this future version of yourself, this highest version of yourself. So it's a really, really important question. Who are you becoming? Next, are you on your team as you face your battles in life? So this is a big deal. It's a lot easier to be self-sabotaging, to be working against yourself, to make things harder on yourself. We all fucking do it. Everyone makes things harder on themselves than they need to at certain points, But when you pivot, when you actually get on your team in life, okay? And this is why self-compassion is such a huge piece I'm always talking about. Also, even getting into this relationship with your future self, your highest self, your muse. You move through challenges very different. You move in partnership with yourself. That feels different, even just in the sense of you're not alone in the battle. Like think about it. Think about you're going into battle and you have this rock solid, die hard, to the end we go, like energy, frequency, person, battle mate with you. and you do the highs and the hards together. Highs like the great moments, right? But you're doing everything in partnership with this battle mate, right? Right? So think about that in terms of you being on your team. You're going to just experience, no one avoids challenge, especially if you're doing great things in life, like going for great things. But what makes the big difference is how you move through the challenge. And when you are doing it in partnership with yourself, when you can tell yourself in the hardest of hard moments, like, hey, I fucking love you. We got this. Let's go. Get up. Keep going. I mean, come on. How do you not win? You're going to get back up. When you feel that from yourself, I'm telling you right now, that is a crazy, amazing experience. It's so rad to get it from the external. It's a whole nother situation when you're getting it from yourself and consistently. And I know, because this is the life I live, and I've seen it completely reshape, the clients that I coach, their relationship with themselves too. And it definitely invites you to go for bigger things in your life. Because again, you're like, well, I got me, so let's go. It's that kind of thing, So are you on your team as you move through, the battles in your life that, are on the path to anything that you're reaching for? Last, but certainly not least, it's one of my favorite and very well-known statements at this point, but to put it into question form, do you feel worthy of the battle and the victory? Because you got to feel worthy of both. It's a package deal, right? Mostly anybody would say that they're worthy of, the victory, right? The thing that they want, I'm worthy of receiving, achieving, actualizing this goal, this vision, whatever. But do you feel worthy to face the battle that you're certainly going to have to face on the way there? It could be a small battle. It could be a mental battle, like not believing in yourself. Or it could be like a financial battle. It could be like whatever the battle is. I'm saying there's going to be a battle. Do you feel worthy to face the battle? And that's a really important question that I want you to answer in action. And of course, I want you to answer it in action with this just unbreakable level of self-worth. And that's a process, okay? I understand everyone's where they are with this, but it is important to feel worthy, period, in life. And let me just end this episode by saying that you are worthy. You're so worthy, and the more that you actually really drill this in your mind and you show it to yourself too every day. How do you love on yourself? How do you take care of yourself? How do you show up for the things that matter to you, And then keep instilling this, knowing that you're worthy of living a life that feels great, where you're thriving, having, your greatest goals be achieved, actualizing just incredible manifestations that live in your heart. Like you're worthy of all of this, right? So I wanted this episode to just, be again, like a sound bath of, just really high frequency energy to uplift you if you need that uplifting, or if you're already there and you're kicking ass, fuck yeah, I want this to accentuate that energy and everything in between, right? The goal is always to support you with all of my heart. The goal is always to remind you that you're worthy. The goal is always to give you these, very tactical and practical, really, strategies and ideas that are going to help you to choose you, your authentic self, and to understand the importance of doing this as a constant throughout your life, to choose the scenic route and to be willing to constantly do the investment work that's going to help you not just kick ass in this moment of your life right now, but to keep you reaching and stretching and expanding yourself so that you're always, so that you express your fullest potential in life. Self-actualization, right? Where you are right now, awesome. Where you're going, where you're taking yourself, incredible, right? So if this episode did what I intended for it to do, let me know. This is always, it's a conversation here, right? So how do you let me know? In the comments on YouTube. Let me know in the DMs on my Instagram or under the post for this episode. Share it on your IG stories. It's also so helpful when you do that to let others know. You know, there's other people in the world who could really benefit from taking in this content. So you sharing the episode is not just giving me love and giving my team love, but it's actually helping other people around the world who could really afford to take in this content, this energy. And on that note, another way to support in that area is to give this podcast a 5-star rating and review. And there's a very easy link, emphasis on easy, where it takes 2 seconds to literally just throw those stars up. And if you would like to write a review, I would love that so much. It really does help. It's really helping this podcast grow, and it is growing. It's growing big time and it's growing fast. But we also have so much more coming and so much more to expand into. So doing it in partnership with you guys, that even makes it more meaningful to me. You know what I mean? So I'm all about community here. So I love you guys. I will see you on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode, you guys. If you loved it, please share it on your social. Throw it up on your Instagram stories and tag me. I'm at Black Belt Beauty. I am also at Roxy Look, RoxyLook. I love connecting with you guys. This is a conversation that I want to just continue growing with you guys. So if you feel inspired to hit me up, do so in that space. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you'd like to support this podcast, you can do so by rating it and reviewing it via iTunes. It's such supportive help, you guys. It really helps the visibility of this podcast. So I appreciate and thank you in advance for doing that. And on that note, you guys, I'm signing off with all my love and always looking forward to catching you on the next.